Lieutenant Jack Norris sat at his research station, staring at the unusual energy readings on his screen. 3 weeks stationed on the remote outpost Helios 7, and finally something interesting had appeared. The readings came from the nearby moon, a rocky, barely habitable place that previous surveys had classified as biologically insignificant. "Computer, run analysis again," Jack said, rubbing his tired eyes. The holographic display refreshed, showing the same strange energy pattern. It pulsed in a way that didn't match any known technological signature. Jack tapped his communication badge. "Norris to Commander Ryan. I'm picking up something unusual from the eastern quadrant of Moon Delta. Probably equipment malfunction." Commander Ryan's voice crackled through the speaker. "We've had sensor ghosts all week." "This looks different," Jack insisted. "The pattern seems almost biological." A long pause followed. "Fine. Log it and monitor, but don't get excited. Nothing lives on that rock except some lichen and those small reptiles." Jack nodded even though Ryan couldn't see him. As the outpost's only xenobiologist, he'd spent most of his time studying those very reptiles, hardly the exciting alien life he'd hoped to discover when joining the Galactic Exploration Initiative. Later that evening, as Jack prepared for sleep, an emergency alert blared through the station. He rushed to the command center where staff gathered around the main screen. "Mining operation on the far side of Moon Delta lost contact with 3 workers," Ryan explained. "Second time this month. They're requesting scientific support." "What happened to the first missing team?" Jack asked. Officer Lisa Grant shook her head. "Never found them. Company blamed equipment failure, possible oxygen deprivation." "I should check it out," Jack said. "It might connect to those energy readings." Ryan frowned. "Negative. Too dangerous. We'll send drones first." The next morning, Jack reviewed the drone footage. Nothing unusual appeared in the visual spectrum, but when he switched to thermal imaging, something caught his eye. A strange cold spot moving against the warmer background of the moon's surface. Against direct orders, Jack prepared a shuttle for landing. He recorded a brief message. "This is Lieutenant Norris. I'm investigating anomalous thermal signatures on Moon Delta. If I don't return in 6 hours, send a rescue team." The shuttle trip took only 20 minutes. Jack landed near the abandoned mining site, suited up, and stepped onto the dusty surface. His scanner immediately detected the energy pattern, stronger now. Following the signal, Jack entered a narrow canyon. The light from the system's twin suns barely penetrated here, leaving most of the passage in shadow. His heart pounded as he moved deeper, recording everything with his helmet camera. 3 hours into his exploration, Jack discovered a cave entrance partially hidden behind fallen rocks. Inside, he found signs of the missing miners. Equipment scattered as if dropped in a hurry, boot prints ending abruptly. And something else, strange marks on the stone walls, almost like claw scratches, but larger than anything the small native reptiles could make. As daylight faded, Jack knew he should return to his shuttle. Instead, he activated his suit lights and ventured deeper into the cave system. The energy readings grew stronger, pulsing in an almost rhythmic pattern. Then he heard it, a soft scraping sound from behind. Jack turned slowly, adjusting his light. Nothing was there, but as he turned back, his light caught a shimmer of movement along the cave wall. Something massive shifted position, its outline briefly visible against the darkness before seeming to melt into the shadows again. Jack froze. The creature must have been following him for some time. His scanner registered a life form nearly 3 times his size, with a body temperature barely distinguishable from the surrounding cave. "Hello," Jack whispered, knowing how foolish it sounded. The shadow moved again, this time revealing 6 limbed appendages and a sleek predatory form. 2 reflective eyes caught his light, glowing with an intelligence that made Jack's breath catch. Instead of attacking, the creature tilted its head, studying him with obvious curiosity. Jack slowly raised his empty hands. "I mean no harm." To his astonishment, The creature mimicked his gesture with its front limbs, then produced a series of clicks and soft rumbling sounds. "You're not just an animal, are you?" Jack whispered, amazement replacing his fear. He named it Umbra on the spot, a shadow given life, the most perfectly evolved predator he'd ever encountered, and possibly the most significant xenobiological discovery in human history. Jack stood before Commander Ryan and the station's Security Council, his recorded footage playing on the main screen. The creature, Umbra, moved with impossible grace for something so large, its 6 limbs allowing it to climb walls and hang from cave ceilings. "This isn't just an animal," Jack explained. "It displayed problem-solving abilities and attempted communication. We need to establish peaceful contact." Commander Ryan shook his head. "Peaceful? 3 mining teams are dead, Lieutenant." "We don't know that," Jack argued. "There's no evidence this species attacked anyone." Major Diane Powell, the military liaison, leaned forward. "Evidence or not, I've contacted Central Command. They're sending a containment unit. This creature represents a potential threat to colonization efforts." Jack slammed his hand on the table. "This is first contact with an intelligent species. We can't just treat it like a dangerous animal." "It is dangerous," Powell replied coldly. "Look at those claws, the muscle mass. It's evolved to kill." "So did our ancestors," Jack countered. "That doesn't mean diplomacy is impossible." Ryan raised his hand for silence. "Until the containment unit arrives in 3 days, Moon Delta is off limits." "That's an order, Lieutenant Norris." That evening, Jack sat in his quarters reviewing the footage again. The way Umbra had mimicked his gestures suggested capacity for learning. He needed more data before the military arrived with their stun weapons and capture nets. Jack quietly packed research equipment and slipped to the shuttle bay during shift change. Breaking protocol could end his career, but some things mattered more. Back on the moon, Jack returned to the cave where he'd first encountered Umbra. He set up small devices that projected simple light patterns, basic attempts at communication. Hours passed with no response. Jack was about to give up when a shadow detached from the wall behind him. "You came back," he whispered, forcing himself to remain still as Umbra approached. The creature moved cautiously, its body shifting colors slightly to blend with surroundings. When it drew close, Jack noticed patterns of natural bioluminescence across its skin, subtle glowing marks that pulsed and changed. Jack activated his pattern device again. Umbra watched, then produced its own light display across its skin in response. "You're trying to talk to me," Jack realized. Over the next 2 days, Jack returned secretly, each time making progress. He developed a translation algorithm that began interpreting the bioluminescent patterns. Though primitive, it allowed basic concepts to be exchanged. On the 3rd day, Jack made a breakthrough. Shade, the rough translation read as the creature referred to itself. "Scout for pack." "You have a family?" Jack asked, his device translating the question into light patterns. "Young scout. Separated. Others hide deeper." Jack realized with excitement that he wasn't dealing with just one intelligent creature, but an entire society. "Why do others fear you?" Jack asked. Shade's pattern response translated roughly. "We hunt. Must eat. Not hunt your kind. Different smell." Before Jack could respond, his communicator beeped urgently. Commander Ryan's voice came through. "Norris, the containment unit has arrived early. They're deploying to the moon now. Return to base immediately." Jack looked at Shade. "People are coming who might hurt you," he tried to explain through his rudimentary translator. "They think you're dangerous." Shade's patterns flashed rapidly. "Am dangerous. But choose who to hunt." Jack heard shuttle engines in the distance. "You need to hide. Go back to your pack." Instead, Shade moved closer. The translation device flickered with a new message. "Show me your people. Want understand." Jack hesitated. Bringing Shade to the station would violate every protocol. But leaving the creature to be captured or killed seemed worse. His communicator beeped again. Lieutenant Norris, respond immediately. Jack made his decision. Come with me, he said to Shade. But we must be careful. My people fear what they don't understand. As they slipped out of the cave toward Jack's hidden shuttle, he knew he was crossing a line from which there would be no return. But sometimes understanding required breaking rules, especially when facing something as extraordinary as the galaxy's most perfectly evolved predator. A predator that had chosen, against all natural instinct, not to see him as prey. Jack's shuttle approached Helios 7 station with Shade hidden in the cargo compartment. His heart pounded as he requested landing clearance. Lieutenant Norris, you're 3 hours late, the control officer said. Commander Ryan wants to see you immediately. Understood, Jack replied, guiding the shuttle into the bay. Once docked, Jack quickly moved to the cargo area. You need to stay hidden, he whispered to Shade. I'll come back after dark. Shade's skin flickered with bioluminescent patterns that Jack's translator interpreted as agreement. The creature compressed its large frame into a surprisingly small space behind supply containers. Jack made his way to the command center where Commander Ryan waited with Major Powell and a new face, a stern-looking man in a black uniform. Lieutenant Norris, Ryan said coldly, this is Major Frank Wilson, Special Containment Division. Wilson stepped forward. You've been making unauthorized trips to Moon Delta, Lieutenant. Care to explain? I was gathering additional research data, Jack answered carefully. Data you should have shared with my team, Wilson said. We have reason to believe these creatures are extremely dangerous. The mining company just reported another attack. 5 dead this time. Jack frowned. That doesn't make sense. The Umbra I've been studying showed no aggression. The what? Powell asked. Umbra. That's what I named the species. Wilson's eyes narrowed. You named it. How close exactly have you gotten to these things? Before Jack could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. The main screen activated, showing security footage from one of the lower levels. Something large moved through the corridors, evading security personnel. It followed you, Ryan said, turning to Jack with horror. You brought one aboard. Sir, I can explain, Jack began, but Wilson was already barking orders into his communicator. All units, we have an alien intruder. Capture or eliminate. Use extreme force if necessary. No, Jack protested. Shade isn't hostile. He's intelligent. We've been communicating. Wilson grabbed Jack by the collar. You named it? Have you lost your mind? Security officers entered and seized Jack's arms. Take him to detention, Ryan ordered. We'll deal with his insubordination after we handle this threat. As Jack was escorted out, he heard Wilson instructing his team to use electronets and stun weapons. They didn't understand what they were dealing with. Shade's intelligence, his speed, his ability to adapt. In the detention cell, Jack paced anxiously. Through the small window, he could see emergency lights flashing. The station's intercom occasionally crackled with reports of the creature being spotted, then vanishing. Hours passed. Then suddenly, a different alarm sounded, the proximity alert. Jack peered through his window toward the main viewing port across the corridor. In the darkness of space, strange lights appeared, moving unlike any ship he'd ever seen. The door to Jack's cell slid open unexpectedly. Shade stood there, a security card clutched in one of his 6 limbs. How did you? Jack began, but stopped when he saw the blood on Shade's claws. Shade's skin flickered urgently. Jack grabbed his translator from a nearby table where his confiscated items lay. Not me, the translation read. Others came. Not like you. Metal hunters. Jack followed Shade to a junction window. Outside, he could see sleek, mechanical craft approaching the station. They moved with unnatural precision. Vortex, Shade's patterns translated. Hunt my kind. Many cycles. Now here. As if confirming his words, the station rocked violently. Emergency sirens wailed as the unknown ships opened fire. They followed you. Jack asked. Follow all prey, Shade replied. My pack runs. Always runs. Another explosion rocked the station. Through a viewport, Jack saw Wilson's containment team rushing to defensive positions. They never saw the mechanical forms that breached the hull behind them. The slaughter was quick and methodical. We need to help them, Jack said, starting forward. Shade blocked his path, skin flashing urgently. Cannot fight Vortex. Must run. The translator struggled with the next pattern, finally displaying. Must protect you. Only human who sees me as person, not monster. Jack looked from Shade to the carnage beyond, then to the emergency shuttle bay indicator. You're right, he said finally. We need to warn your pack, and then we need to find help. As they raced toward the escape shuttles, Jack realized his world had changed forever. He was now caught between two alien species, one the galaxy feared as a deadly predator, the other a truly monstrous hunter that turned its prey into machines. And somehow, against all odds, he had become the unlikely ally of the former. Jack piloted the escape shuttle toward Moon Delta, the small craft shuddering as it entered the atmosphere. Behind them, explosions lit up the night as the Helios 7 station burned. Shade crouched in the co-pilot's seat, his massive form somehow fitting into a space designed for humans. Your people, Jack said, glancing at the alien. Where will we find them? Shade's skin flickered with luminescent patterns. The translator on Jack's wrist interpreted. Deep caves. Bottom of great crack in moon. The shuttle sensors beeped a warning. Something's following us, Jack said, checking the display. One of the Vortex ships. He pushed the shuttle's engines to maximum, skimming low over the moon's rocky surface. The jagged terrain offered some cover as they approached a massive canyon that split the moon's surface. There, Shade indicated with two of his limbs. Land near water pool. Jack set the shuttle down beside a small, dark lake. The moment they exited, Shade moved with surprising speed, leading Jack into a narrow cave entrance hidden behind a rock formation. They descended through winding tunnels, moving deeper into the moon's crust. How much farther? Jack asked after an hour of climbing down. Close now, Shade responded. My people smell us already. As if on cue, shadows detached from the walls around them. Larger versions of Shade appeared, their skin patterns flickering with what Jack's translator suggested was alarm and aggression. One massive umbra stepped forward, at least twice Shade's size. Its patterns flashed rapidly. Elder questions why you bring human, the translator interpreted. Humans hunt us before. Shade moved protectively in front of Jack, his own patterns flaring defensively. This human different, the translation read, sees us as people, and Vortex have returned. Attacked human nest above. The Elder Umbra's patterns shifted to something Jack's translator couldn't interpret. Then it made a sound, a deep resonating call that echoed through the caves. More Umbra appeared from hidden chambers, some carrying young ones. Elder says decide your fate, Shade told Jack. Many want to kill you. Safer. Jack swallowed hard. Tell them I came to warn them. The Vortex destroyed our station. They'll come here next. As Shade relayed this, Jack noticed something about the cave they were in. The walls weren't natural. They showed signs of deliberate construction, with strange symbols carved into the stone. The Elder approached Jack, towering over him. One clawed limb reached out, stopping inches from his face. You not fear. The translation of its patterns read, I respect you, Jack answered carefully. There's a difference. The Elder's skin flickered in what might have been amusement. Then it made a gesture, and two Umbra brought forward something that made Jack gasp, a human woman in a tattered uniform. Commander Powell, Jack said in disbelief. Diane Powell looked up, her face scratched but determined. Norris, I should have known you'd end up here. How did you escape the station? Emergency pod, she said grimly. Got shot down over the moon. These things found me. Haven't decided what to do with me yet. The elder's patterns flashed again. She fights. Good strength, but no understanding. Jack turned to Powell. Commander, these aren't mindless predators. They're intelligent, with their own society, and they've been hunted by the vortex for generations. Powell looked skeptical. The same vortex that attacked our station. Yes, they're some kind of mechanical hunters. They target apex predators across the galaxy. The Umbra have been running from them for a long time. The elder made another sound, and the gathered Umbra responded with a chorus of rumbling calls. What's happening? Powell asked. Jack looked to Shade for explanation. Council of Hunters, Shade's patterns translated, deciding if humans worth allying with, or if easier to give you to Vortex as distraction, while Pack escapes again. Jack stepped forward, facing the elder directly. Your people are hunters, he said. So are humans, in our way. But we're also builders and thinkers. Together, we might stand a chance against the vortex. Alone, we'll both fall. As the elder considered this, distant explosions rumbled through the cave system. Dust fell from the ceiling. The vortex had found them. Powell moved to stand beside Jack. I don't know what you've gotten us into, Norris, but it seems we don't have much choice now. The elder's patterns flashed one final message before it turned to organize its people. First time, in many cycles we not run. Strange to stand with prey against hunters. But change is way of survival. Jack ducked as rock fragments showered down from the cave ceiling. The vortex attacks were growing closer. In the large central chamber, Umbra warriors gathered while others led their young deeper into the cave system. We need a plan, Commander Powell said, brushing dust from her uniform. We can't just hide down here forever. The elder Umbra approached, its massive form moving with surprising grace. Its skin patterns shifted, which Jack's translator interpreted. Vortex machines dig well. Will reach us soon. Jack nodded grimly. Commander, did you see their ships up close? Any weaknesses? They're unlike anything I've encountered, Powell admitted. Almost organic in how they move, but definitely mechanical. They seem to be scanning everything, collecting data. Collectors, Shade's patterns flickered. Take parts from strongest prey. Make themselves stronger. A younger Umbra warrior dragged something heavy into the chamber, a damaged vortex drone. It resembled a metallic spider with multiple scanning arrays where a head should be. Powell approached it cautiously. You managed to destroy one. The warrior's patterns translated as, caught it separated from main force. Still tried to scan me before dying. Jack knelt beside the machine, examining its construction. This technology is incredible. Look at these collection chambers. They're designed to store biological samples. Trophy hunters, Powell said with disgust. More than trophies, Jack replied, pointing to small processing nodes. These analyze the genetic material. I think they're looking for specific traits. The elder's patterns flashed rapidly. Many cycles they hunt us. Take strongest, smartest of pack. Never enough. Always return. Another explosion rocked the caves, closer this time. A young Umbra scout rushed in, its patterns frantically reporting vortex machines breaching the upper tunnels. We need to know what they want, Jack said suddenly. Not just fight them, but understand them. Bit late for a research project, Lieutenant, Powell remarked dryly. No, look at this. Jack pointed to a central processing unit in the drone. All these drones must report to a command ship. If we could access that ship's data core. Shade's patterns flickered with interest. Knowledge is power in hunt. Exactly, Jack agreed. Commander, these drones are collecting data. But why? What's the purpose? Powell considered this. Intelligence gathering before a full invasion. The elder Umbra moved closer to the drone, examining it with all 6 limbs. Its patterns translated. Long ago, ancestors spoke of vortex makers, not machines, but something else. Machines just their hunting claws. Someone's controlling them, Jack realized. But from where? The cave shook again. Dust and small rocks rained down as vortex drones began breaking through the upper tunnels. Warriors moved to defensive positions. "No time for mysteries," Powell said, drawing a blaster sheet somehow kept hidden. "We need to evacuate." Or, Jack said slowly, "We need to infiltrate. Get aboard their command ship." Powell stared at him. "That's suicide." "Maybe not." Jack turned to Shade. "Can you track these machines back to their source? Find their main ship?" Shade's patterns flickered affirmatively. "Can follow scent of their energy. Have watched them many times." Jack looked at the elder. "We need a small team. Fast, quiet. While your warriors hold the defensive line, we slip past to find the command ship." The elder considered this, its massive form eerily still. Finally, its patterns flashed. "Good hunt needs good scouts. Take Shade and 2 others." Powell shook her head. "Norris, this is insane." "Do you have a better idea, Commander?" After a moment, Powell sighed. "No, but I'm coming with you." The elder assigned 2 more warriors to join them. Sleek, smaller Umbra built for speed rather than power. One of them brought forward what appeared to be salvaged human technology combined with Umbra biological components. "Cloaking skins," Shade explained. "Hide from vortex scanners. Short time only." As they prepared to move out, Jack studied the drone again, focusing on its collection chambers. Something about them seemed familiar, almost like terraforming equipment, he whispered, "modified for biological collection." "What?" Powell asked. "I think I know what they want," Jack said grimly. "They're not just hunting the Umbra. They're preparing to remake this moon, and possibly our entire system." The elder's patterns flashed one final message before they departed. "Find truth. Return with knowledge to save both our kinds." As Jack followed Shade toward the surface tunnels, the weight of 2 species' survival pressed down on him more heavily than the entire moon above their heads. Jack crouched behind a jagged rock formation, watching the massive vortex command ship hovering above the moon's surface. It resembled a metallic jellyfish, with a central disk and dozens of tentacle-like appendages that occasionally touched the ground, drilling into the surface. "How do we get inside that thing?" Commander Powell whispered beside him. Shade and the 2 other Umbra warriors, Flint and Drift, as Jack had named them, studied the ship with predatory focus. Shade's skin flickered with patterns. "Collection vessels return regularly," the translator interpreted. "Can follow one inside." As if responding to Shade's words, a smaller craft detached from the main ship and descended toward the moon's surface about half a mile away. "That's our chance," Jack said. "Let's move." The 5 of them moved quickly across the barren landscape, using the cloaking skins to avoid detection by patrolling drones. When they reached the collection vessel, it was already extracting samples from the moon's soil. "Now what?" Powell asked. "We climb aboard," Jack replied, pointing to an external maintenance hatch. The collection vessel was smaller than Jack had hoped, barely large enough for the 5 of them to squeeze into a maintenance shaft. They huddled in darkness as the craft finished its work and returned to the mothership. Inside the massive command ship, they slipped out into a corridor that pulsed with eerie blue light. The walls were lined with transparent tubes containing biological specimens, plants, animals, and other creatures Jack couldn't identify. "A living museum," Powell murmured. Shade's skin flickered with anger when they reached a chamber filled with preserved Umbra specimens. All showed signs of dissection and analysis. "We need to find the central data core," Jack reminded them, placing a calming hand on Shade's arm. They moved deeper into the ship, avoiding patrols of spider-like drones. Finally, they reached what appeared to be a central command chamber. Screens displayed star charts, planetary analyses, and biological data from countless species. "Look at this," Powell said, pointing to one display showing Moon Delta. "They're mapping the entire geological structure." Jack studied the screens, his xenobiology training helping him understand parts of the alien data. "This is a terraforming operation. They're analyzing the moon to replace its ecosystem with something else." Shade approached a particularly large display showing Umbra biological data. His patterns translated. Why want us? Why hunt so long? Jack carefully examined the data. Your adaptive abilities. Your predatory efficiency. They're studying how you evolved to survive in changing environments. As they downloaded data to a portable device Powell had brought, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. On a screen, they saw Umbra warriors attacking vortex drones on the moon's surface, a diversion planned by the Elder. Time to go, Powell said. They turned to leave, but the door sealed shut. A new type of vortex machine entered through another entrance, larger, more humanoid in shape, with multiple scanning arrays focused on them. Commander Unit, Shade's patterns flickered rapidly. The commander drone spoke, its voice mechanical yet somehow organic. Biological specimens detected. Processing priority. High. Umbra genetic material required for final phase. What final phase? Jack demanded. Convergence, the machine replied. All superior traits combined. Perfect adaptation. Evolution accelerated. The commander drone moved with unexpected speed, seizing drift in mechanical appendages. Before anyone could react, it extracted samples from the Umbra warrior, injuring him severely. Shade roared, an actual sound rather than skin patterns, and launched himself at the drone. The battle was brutal and swift. Shade's natural weapons tore into the machine, but not before it inflicted a deep wound across his torso. Jack and Powell managed to destroy the drone with combined fire from Powell's blaster and a weapon they'd taken from the maintenance shaft. But Shade lay badly wounded, blue-black fluid pooling beneath him. We need to get him out of here, Jack said, kneeling beside the injured Umbra. Powell checked their exit options. The alarms triggered a lockdown. We're trapped. Jack looked down at Shade, whose patterns were weakening. Using his xenobiology knowledge, Jack quickly examined the wound. His healing system is incredible, but the damage is severe, he told Powell. He needs time. As Jack worked to stabilize Shade, something unexpected happened. When his hands made contact with Shade's wound, a strange sensation passed between them. Jack felt a mental connection forming. Images, sensations, memories not his own. What's happening? Powell asked, noticing Jack's shocked expression. The Vortex command ship shuddered as explosions rocked its lower sections. Through their mental bond, Jack sensed Shade's strength returning. The injured Umbra rose to his feet, his 6 limbs finding balance again. The other Umbra are attacking the ship, Jack explained to Powell. They're creating a diversion. Powell checked her weapon. Then we need to take advantage of it. What's our goal now? Jack accessed the ship's systems using the data they'd gathered. The core. If we can disrupt their central processing unit, we might disable the entire Vortex network. Flint and the recovering drift flanked them as they moved through corridors, now filled with flashing emergency lights. The mental connection with Shade gave Jack an unexpected advantage. He could sense approaching danger before it arrived. Wait, Jack whispered, pulling the group back as a squad of combat drones rushed past an intersection. They made their way deeper into the ship, eventually reaching a massive chamber housing a pulsing crystalline structure. Energy flowed through it in patterns reminiscent of the Umbra's skin communications. They've copied your people's neural patterns, Jack realized, the knowledge coming partly from his own understanding, and partly through his link with Shade. Shade's skin flickered with anger and recognition. Take from us. Make themselves think like us. Better hunters. Powell examined the security around the core. How do we destroy it? Before Jack could answer, a voice spoke from behind them. Mechanical but with organic undertones. You cannot. They turned to face a new entity, neither fully machine nor fully organic. It resembled a transparent humanoid form filled with flowing mechanical components, its face a shifting mask of different species. The convergence continues, it said. All superior adaptations must be collected. Resistance is inefficient. Who are you? Jack demanded. I am the architect. This collection serves the ultimate purpose, perfect adaptation through directed evolution. Through his bond with Shade, Jack felt a wave of ancestral memory. Stories passed down through generations of Umbra about beings who came from beyond the stars, who took and never gave back. You're harvesting evolutionary traits across the galaxy, Jack said, building toward some kind of perfect organism. Perfection through collection, the architect confirmed. The Umbra adaptive capacity is essential, as is the human cognitive flexibility. Both will be harvested. Pavel raised her weapon, but the architect gestured, freezing her in place with some invisible force. Your species are complementary, it continued. Predator and problem solver, neither complete alone. Jack felt Shade's thoughts merging more deeply with his own. Through their connection, an understanding formed, a plan that neither could have conceived independently. You're wrong, Jack said to the architect. We don't need to be harvested to evolve. Look at us. He raised his hand, showing where his skin now displayed faint luminescent patterns, mimicking Shade's communications. Beside him, Shade made a sound that approximated human speech. Rough, but recognizable. Bond, stronger. Then, force, Shade managed to say aloud. The architect paused, its form flickering slightly. Unexpected integration. Voluntary symbiosis is inefficient. Not inefficient, Jack countered, just not controlled by you. While the architect was distracted, Drift and Flint moved to opposite sides of the chamber. Following the plan forming in the shared consciousness between Jack and Shade, they began manipulating control panels. What are you doing? The architect demanded, its attention divided. Jack smiled, showing you true adaptation. Through their bond, Jack had gained understanding of Umbra biological systems, while Shade had absorbed Jack's knowledge of technology. Together, they understood the vortex systems in a way neither could alone. The crystalline core began to pulse erratically as Drift and Flint continued their work, rerouting energy flows based on the shared knowledge. Stop, the architect commanded, its form becoming unstable. The collection must continue. The collection is over, Jack said firmly. Evolution isn't something you can control or direct. It's about cooperation as much as competition. Powell, freed from the restraining force as the architect weakened, joined Drift at one of the control panels. Whatever you're doing, do it faster. This whole place is becoming unstable. The core's pulsing increased, energy coursing through the ship in chaotic patterns. The architect's form began to dissolve, its carefully constructed appearance breaking down.